Hello, everyone, or no one. It's actually entirely unclear to me who would be watching this, but whatever. I just kind of wanted to announce, I suppose, in video form, that I have decided to basically go full send on crypto, and specifically Solana. Yeah, it just seems like that's kind of the way to go. And also, I'm tired of looking around, and Solana seems cool, and I like their color scheme. Anyway, yeah, so obviously channel's not big at all, but I just kind of want to make this as a bit of an introductory video to maybe some of the rest of the stuff that I'll be putting up probably in the future. Um, just kind of about my journey within crypto. I should say that I'm basically starting out as kind of like a total noob in this space. I do have, I think like a fairly solid knowledge of basically the things that make crypto work, like blockchain, that sort of technology. I just haven't myself really gotten too involved aside from just kind of owning some amounts of Bitcoin and Solana. Yeah, so basically, I think moving forward, they're going to be kind of three main tenets of my journey. So I think the first one, and probably most important to me, is building stuff on blockchain. So I kind of have always been a bit of a cute little builder, I suppose. And yeah, I kind of my background, actually kind of a weird amount of math and physics for most of my teenage years, but more recently, I've really enjoyed building kind of like full stack applications, stuff like that. Just really enjoy stuff like that. I really enjoy kind of like getting down on a grind and just building something out. So I'm super excited to be kind of basically building on Solana, and figuring out how we can kind of move the space forward. I think kind of a little bit more specifically, I'm very interested in the idea of creating digital goods that have intrinsic value. I think this is maybe in contrast with a lot of like the NFTs that are in space right now. Just kind of like your standard run of the mill NFT is basically just kind of like an image or some kind of file that can be rendered on a computer, together with basically some perception of ownership of that based on the blockchain. And obviously there are projects that are really taking this to the next level, and the NFT space is being explored rapidly. But I'm kind of more interested in what if we could basically build things that have more than just like social value. Could they have like an actual value within the context of digital structures? And I think that'll probably make a little bit more sense when I make a video about the project that I'm currently working on. Yeah, I think kind of more broadly, I'm very interested in the idea of building digital realities. And I kind of I say that instead of metaverse just because it seems like a lot of the different directions that people are going with the metaverse right now. I mean, like the metaverse is very ill defined, so this is probably entirely unnecessary. But it seems like a lot of people are kind of going the direction of like basically like building out this gigantic like game like world, some gigantic thing on like Unreal Engine, that basically like looks like a massively or an MMO. But I'm kind of more interested in if we could basically essentially build realities that are like infinite. I say realities like if you can imbue a set of structures with a set of physics, maybe something more like a cellular automaton just to make it something that's feasible in practice. Then basically the possibilities for what you could do within that reality are somewhat endless. It would be a reality in the same sense of our reality being a reality, though of course it'd be tremendously less complicated. That being said, complexity is incredibly easy to come by. We could probably create all sorts of unbelievable nonsense in a reality that's vastly more simple than the one we currently inhabit. So anyway, all that is to say that is kind of like my main interest within the space right now. Basically, like essentially creating moving reality into a digital reality. Yeah, and having that be something that is actually tangible, has utility, and stuff like that. Okay, so that's kind of probably enough about that. The second main tenet of kind of my journey into crypto is actually like diving into these different projects. Right now, my involvement is quite limited. I this kind of embarrassing to say. I don't even actually possess an NFT at this point. I will soon. There likely will be a video about that. Yeah, I I need to get paid. But yeah, anyway, so as I said, I'm really quite new to this space. So I am very interested in basically like figuring out what's actually happening. I'm really interested in a lot of these like projects where the APY is like 1,000% because that's just egregious. Obviously, like there's risk there somewhere and probably a tremendous amount of risk, but I don't know where at this point. So I'm gonna be kind of interested in like putting maybe a small amount of money in that and just kind of like see what happens, not really expecting really anything to happen, just more to figure out what's actually happening in the space, and hopefully I don't get scammed, even though I likely will. Yeah, and so yeah, just general involvement. I want to be involved in DAOs. I want to basically become part of this community. It seems like a really kind of amazing space. People always say it, but it kind of seems like the internet just all over again. Um, yeah, I mean, Web three. Yeah. So anyway, and the third kind of final aspect I think of my dive into this is like this specific channel. I think in the past, I think as I mentioned before, I kind of have a tendency to just kind of like build in isolation, which maybe sounds sad, but it's just the way I kind of enjoy doing things. Um, and I would like to do it a little bit differently with this. I would like to maybe do a better job of kind of like documenting my path forward, documenting kind of the stuff I'm doing. So I think kind of more practically what it might look like in terms of this channel. I think that there are a lot of like other I think very popular channels where basically it's like, oh, I put X amount of money into this project and here are the returns I got, or something like that, or yeah, there are a lot of channels like that. So I think I'm probably going to do a little bit of that, just kind of again very much with the flair of like this is a learning process for me. Hopefully this can be like a learning process for both of us. Yeah, but and then also I think I'm also going to be playing the space of maybe creating some tutorials about developing on Solana, or different blockchains if I branch into that. Yeah, there certainly are a wide range of tutorials about like building on Solana and Anchor and stuff like that. But this all this stuff is like so new that like even in my like simple experiments so far, I've already found places where like the information necessarily to build the things I want to build is not necessarily particularly accessible. And so I think there really could be some value in creating those sorts of tutorials. I think that might be useful for you guys. We'll see. Yeah, so those are basically the kind of the three, yeah, as I said, main tenets of my leap into crypto. Yeah, if you watch this, bless your soul. And um, super excited to be doing this. I also should say I think kind of another main goal of having this be kind of a YouTube thing. I would really like to do a better job of trying to build out community around some of the things that I'm interested in. I shouldn't just say build out, just like become a part of community and things that I'm interested in. And I mean, like, I guess kind of like the dream of this channel, like I have really no idea what it takes to get a large number of subscribers or something like that. But I think what would be really cool is maybe if I had like 1,000 subs or so, or just like some people that I could be like, hey, this is a new thing that I'm working on. Like, what do you guys think? Just like, would you like to try this out? Stuff like that. Yeah, so I think that's kind of like my main impetus, and hopefully this my journey can be useful to you. Yeah, so I think that is about all I have. Looking forward to the future.